Have you ever wondered if your intelligence, your level of social intelligence, educational intelligence, was due greater to your genetic factors, or if it was due more to your environment factors? Meaning, was it based upon how intelligent your parents were, or was it more greatly based upon the environment in which you lived, your socioeconomic status, your home environment where your parents were? This is something that I always asked myself when I was younger, especially because I went to school with students of different socioeconomic statuses that had greater ones than I did. And I always wondered why it was that school seemed to come so easy to them, why their projects were always done on time, they seemed to be perfect, and yet I was struggling. I didn't feel that school was that easy to me, nor did I feel like it was very enjoyable. So today, my specific purpose is to help each one of you understand that one's intelligence is not solely based upon the genetic factors that one is predisposed to have. Rather, the environment in which one lives is the ultimate defining factor of one's intelligence. So with that being said, we're going to take a look at three different things that I'm going to mention that are really going to hopefully help each one of you understand this point. So first, we're going to take a look at something called the Pygmalion effect, and this is also known as the expectancy effect. Second, we're going to look at a quote by Dr. John B. Watson, who is the father of behaviorism. Yet this quote will also help us to better understand that the environment can greatly control who we can become, or who we can even help our children or those around us to become. And third, we're going to look at the opposing view of how nature, for other studies, have shown or have tried to prove that nature is the ultimate defining factor, meaning the genetics that one has. So first off, the Pygmalion effect. This was something that was done by two people, Rosenthal and Jacobson, and there were two psychologists. And what they were trying to prove was that the greater expectancy that one person had, if they had a great wish or a great desire, then they could make this a reality, that this could really become something that would happen. So what they did to prove this was they went to an elementary school in California, and they gave every student an IQ test at the beginning of the year. Then they told the teachers that certain students, about 20% of their class, was going to excel. They were going to be the spurters for that year, and they were really going to be very intelligent. So at the end of the year, they gave that same IQ test. These teachers had the names, by the way, and they gave that same IQ test, and everyone obviously had done a lot better. But these teachers, they had focused more on these students because they had this expectancy. They knew that they were going to become better students, they were going to become more intelligent. And so they found that these students, that they had no idea what was happening, they didn't know that their teachers knew that they were going to be spurters, which was not true, essentially. But because their teachers gave them a little bit extra attention, they really did excel. They did far better than the other students in their class. So this was able to show that this expectancy, or the environment in which we place or create for a child, or which we have had in our lives, really has been a defining factor for our intelligence, our level of capability or achievement that we're able to have. Now, Dr. John B. Watson said this quote. I'm going to read it because it's a little bit too long for me to know alone. And this is what he said. He said, "Give me a dozen healthy infants and my own specified world to bring them up in, and I'll guarantee to take anyone at random and train him to become any type of specialist I might select: doctor, lawyer, artist, merchant chief, and yes, even beggarman and thief, regardless of his talents, penchants, tendencies, abilities, vocations, and race of his ancestors." Now, we know that to become a doctor, that's no easy task. This isn't something that can come naturally to everyone. But he's saying, essentially, you give me this world, like this specified environment, and I will make sure that they become this way. Now, this is through training or whatever it is. It's through, creating this world in which these children would be, and he could guarantee that they would grow up to be each one of these things, no matter their socioeconomic status, no matter what. He would create an environment that would be conducive to them having this level of intelligence or this level of outcome or achievement. So that was something very interesting to me, that psychology is very much, it is intelligence. It's what we're studying. It's about our brains. So third, looking at the third point, which is about the opposing view. The opposing view would argue that our brains are made up a lot of white matter. Now, white matter has a lot of myelinated axons, which transmit lots of signals from all different centers of the brain, which contributes to our intelligence, which is very true. Now, this is something that can be very genetic. This can be passed on from parent to child. Now, the thing that changes that argument would be that as we grow and as we learn, whether it's positive or negative, such as the influence of pornography, our brains change. There are physical and chemical changes that take place. So the example of pornography is a negative one, but that environment which the brain is exposed to causes an effect that inhibits one to have affection and have love towards someone. So again, our environment really will contribute to how it is that we will develop intellectually. So I've grown up a lot since I asked myself that initial question, why children and the doctors did better than I did. I've looked at many factors, such as my father's poverty in childhood and non-educated parents that he had, his illness that came on after success, and my mother's need to work 2 jobs and support the family, and many other circumstances that gave my family the not so ideal environment. However, regardless of that, how I did in junior high and high school, both my parents, my brother, and myself have gone to college, and we've all been on the honor rolls. My father is now a college student. He has a 4.0, and I believe that no matter what your genetic makeup is, never let it be your excuse. Never let it stop you from learning and from growing. You can recreate your environment, even if it's only mentally. We are children of a king. We're children of a God, and he placed us here in this specific environment so that we too could learn to be like him.